Hey everyone, it's Mr. Geopolitics here. So today is a weekend, but as far as I'm concerned, that doesn't matter. So we're just gonna quickly go over what's been going on in Ukraine lately. If we look at the map, really the name of the game is artillery, shelling, and the Russians are using rockets, howitzers, self-propelled artillery, mortars, you name it. I mean, you see all these different symbols representing the Russians shelling Ukrainian positions. So for example, at Kharkiv direction, Russian army shelled Yavirsky, Stara Nilitsa, Ukrainka, Mikhailsky, and a bunch more. So all these positions near Kharkiv. Right here, there's another cluster near Sloviansk. They're trying to soften up this position so they can go down the M103 towards Sloviansk. They've been striking at Kramatorsk lately as well. So yeah, the Russians are continually shelling Ukrainian positions. Now, what are the Ukrainians doing about it? Well, the Ukrainians have been going on somewhat of a tear lately. I don't know if you've heard about it, but the Ukrainians are basically, they've been targeting a lot of Russian ammunition depots, ammunition dumps. In the last few days, according to reports, the Ukrainians have destroyed 20 Russian ammunition dumps. So here's the footage from one of the latest. And you can hear the artillery, the munitions going off, right? Here's another one. Now, I don't know why these symbols inside the Russian lines are not blue. They should be blue because these symbols represent the Ukrainians hitting Russian targets, right? So they should be blue. But a few hours ago, I counted all the symbols which represent Ukrainians hitting Russian targets. There were 5. I counted all the symbols which represent the Russians hitting Ukrainian targets. There were about 50 or more. So the Russians still have the advantage, and in the West they're really applauding the fact that the Ukrainians are doing this, and people are saying, oh, they're so smart, they're destroying the Russians' ammunition, and without ammunition and munitions the Russians can't use their artillery. Well, no shit, Sherlock. I mean, the Russians, since the beginning, they have been, targeting Ukrainian ammunition dumps. They have been targeting the rail network, supply lines. The Russians have been hitting command and control. They have been hitting fuel depots. I mean, the Russians, from the beginning, they have been doing this. Now the Ukrainians have finally launched an operation where they're doing this. I'm going to go look at this one. Explosion at warehouse at Alchevsk. This is the Ukrainians hitting another Russian ammo depot. You can hear the explosions in the background. The spectator is horrified. Yeah, so I don't know if the Ukrainians are doing this. They probably have help from Western intelligence, their own intelligence agents on the ground. NATO is probably providing satellite reconnaissance. Allegedly, the Ukrainians are doing this with the HIMARS. Now, I don't know if they're strictly using the HIMARS to do this. I think they're using a combination of the HIMARS, the Grad, Tushka, all the other weapons they had at their disposal, which makes sense. Now, the Ukrainians are doing this, and how will this affect the Russians? Well, lately most of the ammunition dumps were around Donetsk City. The string of attacks was centered around Donetsk City. Now they're stretching out towards closer to Luhansk City. There have been some attacks in the Zaporizhia Oblast as well. Mainly the fighting though is centered up further north near Seversk, Sloviansk, Kramatorsk, and Bakhmut, right? So the fact that the Ukrainians are hitting the targets here, that would suggest that maybe they're trying to avoid counter battery fire, because they only received 4 HIMARS launchers, right, from the Americans so far, and I think there's another 4 coming, which is not really nearly enough. So I think what the Ukrainians want to do is they want to get a good story out of this, right? They want to tell the Americans that, hey, this is working. They want to obviously they want the HIMARS units to survive and to do well, so that they can when they ask for more, the Americans will probably say yes, because they'll have a good feeling about it. They'll say, hey, look, these HIMARS launchers have been working well, they've been destroying Russian targets, so let's give them more. It makes sense, right? It doesn't make sense if you send a few and they get destroyed, annihilated right away, right? So I mean, whether it's the HIMARS which is solely responsible for this, or a combination of the HIMARS and other weapons like the Grad, whatnot, it's all part of the strategy for Ukraine to get more weapons, right? Now, if the Ukrainians were to use the HIMARS, especially with the missiles that the U.S. has provided, but if the Ukrainians had more of the HIMARS and they were using them more commonly, and they were using them in areas where the Russians had more assets lined up, then they would be at risk of counter battery fire, right? They would be at risk of airstrikes. They would be at a higher risk, right? So the Ukrainians are just, I think with these few units of the HIMARS they've received, I think what they're trying to do is they're just trying to get a good propaganda win out of it so they can get more. Here, let's look at this. Not sure what happened here. I don't hear munitions going off in the background in this video. But supposedly a munitions warehouse was destroyed nearby, and one of them went stray and flew into this house. So, I mean, that can happen, right? Anyways, looking at the big picture, how will this affect the Russians? Will this slow down their operations? Most munitions storage facilities during a war like this, where the Russians are using so much munitions at once, so many artillery shells in one day, I mean, those warehouses would probably be stocked for a few days. They would have supplies for artillery units nearby for a few days. Now, with these warehouses destroyed, the Russians are probably going to disperse where they store their ammunition. They're going to be more secretive about it. It's going to be further away from the front. So the Russians will adapt. I mean, that's what wars are all about, right? Enemies constantly adapting to each other until you get to a resolution, right? So the Russians will adapt. Now, how well they adapt, how quickly they adapt, I would assume they have contingency plans, but we're going to have to wait. It's just going to take time for us to see what happens and how this will have a long-term effect on them. But I'm guessing the Russians have more ammunition where that came from. And, they're just going to diversify the way they supply ammunition to the front. Maybe it'll be slower. Maybe it'll slow down. Maybe each artillery unit will fire less shells because of it. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But On the front line, like I've said in the last few videos, what really matters is this front line right here, because what the Russians really want to do is they want to flatten the line right here so that they're facing the M103 parallel, so that they can basically, you know, be facing the road parallel, and they can then advance on the road. Seversk is very important because what the Russians want to do is they basically want to advance like this, right? And like this. And they want to basically surround Seversk, envelop Seversk, and force the fighters out. And if we zoom in, we'll see that, you know, the Russians are already claiming they took Spirne, but it hasn't been confirmed on this map. But anyways, the Russians basically want to go, they want to take, you know, let me show you. They want to take Spirne, then this settlement here, right? Then down south, further south, they also want to take these settlements. And then, of course, all these little settlements here. And by doing this, they establish somewhat of a salient, a bulge, with defensive lines going into the Seversk salient. And then from there, what they can do is they can expand, and they can basically envelop the Ukrainians like that. Right. Right, so that's the whole point. Until the Ukrainians are almost enveloped and they're going to have to flee. Afterwards, one main goal would be to basically go into these settlements here, and essentially by doing this, what the Russians want to do is they want to basically break this road, the M103. They want to break one of the main arteries that's supplying from Kramatorsk to Sloviansk, and from Sloviansk to Bakhmut, right? So you see what they can do there. They can threaten the Ukrainians with envelopment at Seversk, take Seversk, and then break the road, break the M103, and then from the north surround Bakhmut. From the south, they can take these settlements, including New York. And if they can do this, they can, you know, eventually threaten Bakhmut itself with envelopment, take Bakhmut, and then do the same thing from the north to the south. You know, basically take all these little settlements, surround Sloviansk, and then basically encircle everything slowly, right? By taking the settlements and avoiding frontal assaults. I've gone over all this in the previous videos, but yeah, basically that's what the Russians are looking to do. Some people say the Russians are taking somewhat of a pause right now. They're just resupplying, getting ready to go on further offensives. Obviously, the Ukrainians targeting Russian ammunition dumps, that's not going to help the Russians. This might delay the Russians' this might delay their plans for a few days. But there's more ammunition dumps where that came from, right? The Ukrainians haven't really targeted the ammunition dumps here in the north, in the Luhansk region. One thing the Russians might do is they might actually beef up the air defenses around here, around these areas. So anyways, only time will tell, and I guess we got to keep watching to find out. So Anyways, that's it for today, guys. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. All right, thank you.